everyone, my name is Ruvigian Malia and I am your teacher for today. So now, I will discuss to you the voices of the verb. So first, we need to know that every sentence has a subject. Now, what is a subject? Yes. Okay. Subject is known as the topic of the sentence, meaning a sentence always needs a subject or a topic. Okay, for example, this one, the caterpillar eats the plant. So, which do you think in this sentence is the subject? Yes? Very good. Subject here in the sentence is the caterpillar. So, the caterpillar is the topic of the sentence. Again, let us take a look at this second sentence. So, the plant is eaten by the caterpillar. Now, which do you think here is the subject? Yes? Okay. So, the subject in here is the plant. Plant eaten by the caterpillar. So, this sentences means that in the sentence will not be a sentence if there is no topic or subject. Now, okay. So, the two of them have differences. On the first sentence, the caterpillar eats, meaning the caterpillar is doing something. The caterpillar is eating. So, therefore, the caterpillar is the doer of the action. So, but on the second one, the subject here is the plant. So, did the plant eat? No. Now, this one, the plant was eaten. So, therefore, it is not a doer. So, but it receives the action. We call it a receiver. Receiver of the action. A sentence has a subject, but that subject might be a doer or a receiver. That's why in a sentence, we have two voices based on if the subject is the doer or the receiver of the action. So, that's what we call the voices of the verbs. That's why we have active voice and passive voice. So, let's go to the first one, the active voice. Active voice is if the subject of the sentence is the doer of the action. So, for example, the trees give us fruits. So, class, which do you think here is the subject of the sentence? Yes, the trees. So, now, who give us fruits? Who did the action? Yes, it's the trees. So, the trees is the subject of the sentence. Then, at the same time, it is the one doing the action. That's why it is active voice. So, here is another example. And okay, the farmers harvest the crops. So, which is the subject here? Yes, the farmers. So, the farmers, who did the action? Yes. Now, which one do you think is the subject here? It is the farmers. The farmers is the subject and the farmer is the one doing the action. That's why it's called active voice. So, subject is the doer of the action. Because when we say active, the subject of the sentence is the doer of the action. So, the trees, the farmers do the action. The subject is the doer. That's why it is active voice. That's the first type of voices of the verbs. Aside from active, we have the opposite. That's we call passive voice. Maybe you're asking, Mom, what is the difference between active and passive voice? So when we say passive voice if the subject of the sentence is the receiver of the action. So, So when we say passive, the subject of the sentence is the receiver of the action. So in active voice, here the subject is the doer of the action. But in the passive voice, it is the receiver of the action. It is not the one doing the action, rather receiving the action. Okay, so I have an example here. The fruits are given by the trees. So, what is the subject here? Yes, right. Subject here is the fruits. So, now I ask you, do the fruits do the action? No, but rather the fruits were the one receiving the action. That's why it is the receiver that we call passive voice. Okay, how about this sentence? So how about the second one? The crops were harvested by the farmers. So which do you think here is the subject? Yes. Yes. The subject here is the crops. So now I ask you, who did the action? Did the crops harvest themselves? No, but rather they are the one receive the action. That's why they are called the receiver. So then sentences we call it passive voice. So the fruits, the crops are the subject and they are the one receiving the action. Another difference is that you will notice in active voice and in passive voice. So, in active voice, there is no helping verbs, while in passive voice, there are helping verbs. So, what are the helping verbs? Yes, those are was, is, were, am, and are. So, again, this is the clue when you are going to notice. Okay, example. If in active voice, if the verbs are like carry, eats, and bring, then we change it into passive voice. It becomes carry becomes was carried, eats becomes is eaten, and brings becomes are brought. So that is the difference between active voice and passive voice in terms of structure. Okay, so that's it. When we say active voice, means the subject is the one doing the action. Then when we say passive voice, it is the subject that receiving the action. Okay, understood? Very good. So, now I have an activity and I want you to copy this on one sheet of paper. Write A if the sentence is in active voice. Then write P if the sentence is in passive voice. Okay, copy this one and pass it to me after. Okay, so that will be all for today. Hope you'll understand my topic. Thank you and God bless.